The movie starts with a man named Pierre who has an undying devotion to caring for his cows. We see how he walks through his cows in his bedroom, pushing them aside while going to the kitchen to get some coffee. He has a perfect schedule for them. He walks them, feeds them, and milks them. He even gives them names. One day, his sister, Pascal, a vet, came to examine one of his cows to see if it was pregnant, which she confirmed it was, and in perfect health. He tells her that the cow is his third best cow. He prompts her to check out another cow named Topaz. When Pascal finished examining Topaz, she tells Pierre that the cow is in good condition and expecting a calf. He worries and thinks that the cow has Belgian disease that he hears on the news, which makes them burn cows. But she convinces him that the cow does not have hemorrhagic fever and bleeding, which are the symptoms of the disease. We see Pierre's father and mother at the dining table discussing the cow business. His mother explains to him how it's okay not to be number one in the milk industry. But he shows her news records that he is number one, but his mom argues that he is number one in quality and number 6 in quantity. She gives him bread and admirer, a baker made for him. An old man named Raymond approaches Pierre to request hay for his cows and suggests that one of his cows is limping and he should come and take a look. Pierre explains to him that he would be with him shortly. Raymond tries to tell Pierre his background experience with cows, but he cuts him short and requests to see the cow. He takes a look and tells him the cow is not limping. Raymond implies it could be his eyes that are aging out. That evening, Pierre receives a message from his friend telling him to come hunting to take his mind off the cows. His monitor device displays unusual sounds coming from the barn. He goes to check it out. He sees his cow trying to give birth. He assists the cow to pull out the calf. The cow falls, making it difficult for Pierre to pull it out. He eventually succeeds. We see it licking its calf. The next day, he goes to feed the calf and put an ear tag. He names the cow Binu. He sees the mother sitting and making an unusual sound. He tries to push her to stand, but he could not. Pascal comes furious and tells him that it's abnormal to leave 15 messages concerning a cow. He tells her that she was not answering her phone. She explains she brought another vet to witness the injection that cow would receive. The vet explains that it has mastitis, a mere cow sickness that could easily be cured. But Pierre is paranoid that the cow could have the Belgian disease and pressurizes Pascal about it. Pascal gets angry and calls the prevention center to examine the cow. Pierre gets worried that they are going to kill all his cows and tells her to cancel. But she said that there was nothing she could do and that they would be there to check the next day. Pierre watches a video of a man who lost all his livestock to Belgian disease. As he explains, it started with one cow that was not milking and 2 days later it had a fever. He called an expert to check and the next day they slaughtered his cows, and he lost everything. Pierre hears an unusual sound from a cow in the barn, and he goes to check it out. He sees Topaz in pain, and as he tries to comfort her, he discovers blood on the body of the cow. His fears have come true. He is in shock and confused about what to do. He calls his sister, Pascal, but she does not answer. He decisively goes to get his gun to kill the cow. As he attempts to shoot, considering the loud noise the weapon would make, he goes to carry an axe. Staring into the face of the cow in pity, he hits the cow on the head several times as he says, "I'm sorry." Pierre carries the cow very late at night with his tractor to dispose of it in a ditch. He removes the label on the ear of the cow as he burns the remains. The next day, he goes to feed and milk his cows. He exchanges the label of the cow he killed with another in the van. Pascal and the expert from the prevention center goes to check the cow but see that the cow is in perfect condition. The expert blames Pascal for wasting his time. The expert drives off, leaving Pascal questioning Pierre on the cow's location. He tells her that he was right that the cow had the symptoms. She requests that she wants to see it, but in anger, Pierre tells her that he watched the cow burn. She tells him that he is insane and has until the evening to confess his actions. Pierre was having dinner with his father and mother. His mother asked who the vet that came in with Pascal was. Pierre accuses her of spying on the vet and tells her the vet is an old trainee, but she does not believe it. Later that evening, Pierre and Pascal were having a conversation. He reminds her that he told her that the cow had the disease, but she did not believe him. She informs him that it was not her fault and that he burned a cow, for which they could go to jail. He claims to have saved the other cows. They both end the conversation as they agree that it's over if he detects any cow. The next day, the baker Angelique brought bread for Pierre. They had an awkward conversation, but he eventually agrees to a dinner date with her. In the morning, a woman comes to take account of his cows. Pierre explains to her that it's not yet time to check the cows, but she tells him that she has been calling him, but he has not been picking up, she insists. She takes stock and asks Pierre where the last cow was. He claims that the cow went missing after he took them on a walk. She tells him to get a report from the station. In another scene, we see Pierre with an officer who makes fun of his story and tells him that cows don't have passports to move about. Pierre mistakenly mentions we when giving the statement. The officer clarifies the people involved. He tells them that it was him and his sister. The officer asks him if he has contacted the forestry department. He confirms that he did not. The officer tells him that his story was not adding up and asks what really happened to the cow. He replies, "I ate it." The officer feels proud of himself and requests him to bring 1.5 kilograms of steak. Pierre goes to buy steak in the mall. Pascal is not happy that her name is in the report and is worried that they might do a proper investigation and they could go to jail, but Pierre assures her that they would not. They take a stroll on the field when his mother called to tell him that a cow is missing. He yells persuasively that no cow is missing, and she does not trust him to handle anything. As she asks where he was, he cuts the call. In the evening, Pierre and Pascal came to break the good news of their parents' vacation, but their mother does not like the travel idea. She claims it's because of the calving season, and she can't just leave. But Pierre strongly argues that they have to go. It looks like his date is going well with Angelique. They mention each other's likes and dislikes. She says that she does not care about looks, and it does not bother her that he is a farmer. He asks her why it should bother her. The conversation becomes awkward from there. He drinks with his friend at the as his friend still persuades him to go hunting with him and his other friends. The next day, his friends came to plan their movements and strategies. They agreed to meet in the evening. Pierre goes to milk his cows when he notices one of the symptoms of Belgian disease. He runs out to quickly and calls his friends to cancel and say that he is sick. They tell him that they are on their way to him. He sees the cow in pain and quickly gets his gun and shoots it. It looks like he is having a panic attack. Pierre and his friends were playing a game when they heard unusual sounds of cows through the home monitor. To take their minds off the sound, Pierre suggests they go bowling. One of them suggests it was a bad idea, but Pierre always has his way of convincing. They all enjoyed their time, bowling and drinking for hours. Pierre gets into an argument with one of his friends when Pierre says he wants to leave. His friend tells him that he can never change and can have a life outside his cows. He leaves as one of them approaches to ask for a ride home. When he reaches home, he immediately changes and goes to the barn to take the cow out with the tractor. The next day he goes to milk the cows and to get their temperature as he discovers it could be more of his cows that are affected. He adds a chemical to the pit where he buried the cow he killed recently to reduce the smell when Raymond's voice startled him, saying, "It stinks." He rushes to him quickly to remove him from the site, asking if he has run out of hay. Raymond explains that his cow has a problem. Pierre checks it out and tells him that the cow is fine. Raymond apologizes for disturbing him and asks him about the cow in the pit. Raymond claims that he heard the cow shout the night he was not around. Pierre accuses him of snooping around his premises and threatens him that there is nothing in the pit, telling him that something stinks, but they don't know what it is. He makes Raymond say it out loud. He leaves Raymond's barn telling he would be of assistance if he needs anything. Pierre has an unusual itch on his back that seems it has been going on for a while. He goes to bathe his favorite calf, Binu. He watches the news with his calf. We see stains of blood on his shirt as he scratches. In the bathtub, he pours hydrogen peroxide as he shouts in pain. Pascal comes to check the cows, and one of Pierre's friends in charge of gadget controls tells her that one cow is missing. She immediately suspects that Pierre is up to something. She goes to meet him to confront him. She tells him that a cow is missing. He dismisses the idea and tells her it does not mean anything. She immediately goes to take blood samples from the cows. He asks what she was doing. She tells him that she is saving them from jail. He watches the video of the man who lost his cows to the disease. Someone knocks on the door. As he goes to answer and discovers it's Raymond, He forcefully slams the door in anger. He traces the location of the man in the video. The next day, Pierre carried all his cows in a trailer, searching for the man he saw in the video. He successfully finds him. Pierre introduces himself as a farmer and tries to confirm if his name is Jamie. He affirms. Pierre tells him he wants to talk. Jamie explains to Pierre that he reported a case of a sick cow, and it was over, as the prevention center slaughtered all of them. Pierre shows him the cows and tries to persuade Jamie to keep them as he tells him that they are healthy. He takes Pierre to his studio and explains that he wants to make a video, threatening the government to change the law on free trade or else they would release his cows into the wild. Pierre attempts to convince him that the cows were not sick and wants to keep them until a vaccine comes. Jamie tells Pierre that there is no vaccine. It seems Jamie was more interested in being famous than caring for cows. Pierre leaves. Later in the evening, he receives a call from Pascal and asks where he is. He tells her that he is on his way. She tells him that one of his cows tested positive for the disease. He explains to her that it's not fair, but she consoles him that they are in it together, and she is there for him. He drives back home and offloads his cows. Pierre carries Binu, his favorite, to his living room. The following day, the prevention center comes to get rid of his cows. He says he wants to milk them one last time. He milks them while grieving on the inside. As he leaves the barn, Pascal comes to meet him feeling terribly sorry as she tells him that Binu, his calf, is on the list, and gives him the dose to get rid of the cow. He feeds the calf and later brings it out dead. Pascal consoles him that it is going to be fine. He walks out into the sunset. The end. Comment below on what Pierre is feeling right now.